'cause she couldn't help me with my mind. People think I'm insane because I am frowning all the time. All day long I think of things, but nothing seems to satisfy. Think I lose my mind if I don't find something to pacify. Can you help me occupy my brain? Oh yeah. Can you help me occupy my brain? Oh yeah. I need someone to show me the things in life that I can find. I can see the things that make true happiness. I must be blind.
What's up, bulls?
How's it going, everybody? Get your ass over on that side. You're the host on this show, buddy. I ain't got nothing to do with this. I'm just going to comment on the movies. I'm from Eastern Kentucky. We can't talk about this sort of thing usually, right? I don't know what caused you to change your mind. What was it?
It was the fan demand, man. Like everybody wanted to see this show, and I felt like what's a better way to take out the first season of ExploitNation than with this show? And I, if nothing else, I listen to the fans. So
We are going to have a major announcement at the end of the show for the season 2, when it will start, what we'll be covering, all that stuff, right?
yeah, actually, I am going to talk about like what's coming next, and then because the next thing is not the next season of ExploitNation,
right? But
we'll talk about
on a future season of ExploitNation, we've got to talk about guinea pig movies. I was trying not to blow out the.
You're going to blow your fucking voice out. Yeah.
Well, this thing's got microphone like auto adjust on it or whatever. So if I try to do the May of the Dead thing, I have to back up.
Yeah, it won't really let you do it. That's the bad part about this kind of technology, is that it won't let us do the May of the Dead thing the real way, because it cuts.
Well, I can turn the auto adjust off, and it probably
you turn all that stuff off and just scream like a madman into it, which I recommend.
Get in, big Danny Funk.
But anyway, joining us tonight, on the season finale of ExploitNation, in which we're going to be talking about 3 of, and I didn't realize this was voted on by, the fans in a poll. I didn't realize that these movies were basically some of the earliest Blaxsploitation films that there were, really. We're going to be talking about Blacula, Shaft, and Coffy. Joining us first is the man that really needs no introduction. He's done a bunch of these. He's done a bunch of other shows, and he, we met up with him recently at Horror Hound Weekend. It's Phantasmat. Bulls, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Doing great. So we got 2 Eastern Kentuckiers and 1 West Virginia.
Eastern Kentuckiers
Talking about these movies.
It's not looking good so far.
No. So,
You got to have somebody to balance it out. So hopefully we can get away with it now.
You got the pass.
Yeah.
but somebody else has done a lot of these shows and is always been really good about like coming on short notice and all. And it's always good to talk about ExploitNation shows, but is, normally doesn't make an appearance until much later. He's here on time for this one.
He was here first before
How
anybody.
you doing, Mark?
I'm good.
Mark was excited about this show tonight.
I was.
It was the day that what was the Metallica song? The Day That Never Comes or whatever is here.
Yep.
It's here, brother.
Well, DEADPIT gives the fans what they want, so here we are.
This is one of those things though, where I'm not even joking. I was like, everybody kept bringing this up over and over and over again. And every time I would do like, what do you want to have the show about? Like there'd be at least 3 or 4 fucking people every single time. This is what they would want it to be about. So here it is. So now you shut your mouth.
Well, this is just the beginning though, right? So we've got like 4 or 3 essential movies. We're doing 3 tonight.
Yeah, by the way,
there's plenty you to choose from after this though, if you want.
In every one of these subgenres that I've done, there's like at least 100 other movies. So it's like you have to draw a line in the sand somewhere with what you can put on here, right? So it's like, there's a million vigilante films, there's a million sword and sorcery films, there's a million blaxploitation films. Like I just put a poll up, pick the top 3, and here we are.
Hey, I've got a question for you, Uncle Bill, though. See if you can answer this for me. Who is the big black private dick who's a sex machine to all the chicks?
Shit.
You got it. You damn right.
Shit. Oh, shit.
We should have opened the show with that.
I don't know why we didn't think about that. That would have been killer.
Well, you probably would have got like a copyright strike immediately.
I would say that song is definitely like copyright out the ass. So
Yeah.
But I can ask the question at least.
Yeah, but
we can do it that way.
That is, a lot of people say that that's the movie that started the whole kind of subgenre, but there was actually a movie that came out before that, 1970, and it was Cotton Comes to Harlem. That was probably one of the first films that that's the name of it, Matt. Fucking, I don't know
what's wrong with that. That was his name.
I'm trying not to laugh. I couldn't hold it in.
Look, we're all gonna have to like just get through this. I'm from Eastern Kentucky, and I want to be saying like a bunch of titles of things that are probably not politically correct. That is what it is.
You need to put like a disclaimer at the beginning of this, big white letters with a black background that says disclaimer. The people involved in the making of this video are good people.
We're all good people. Yeah. Man, there's a lot of worse titles of blaxploitation movies, let me tell you. So yeah, that was pretty tame.
Some you can't even say on here anymore.
Yeah. So, and this was, and there was another one that people kept recommending like over and over again, which was Sweetback's Badass Song. But like that was one that we just couldn't do because like I couldn't do 4 or 5 different movies on this. We're just going.
I haven't heard of this one. Cotton Weary Comes to Harlem.
That's the Scream tie-in, yeah.
That'd be killer.
Anyway, speaking of which, in the chat we have Craters in here. Holy shit, boys! You know it's a fucking chat when Craters in there. I've never heard of this one. Moho Gibson is in here. That is Witch Hunters.
We could be in one of these movies or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Moho.
Jackson Jack, Dirk, Suspirian Night, of course, Ken Carlson, Rob Zilla, Seth Draken, Saturn Video, Wiley J. Draws. All right.
What do you draw, Wiley J? Send us some of your art. Let us know. Unless it's like,
Yeah, we don't know what it is, so probably hold off on that. PT and Tony Bones are all in here. So
I saw Tony Bones was hanging out with Garrett this weekend, Bulls.
Well, what was that anyway? I didn't catch like
that was the Schiller Theater show in New Jersey.
I've always wanted to go to one of those, but they're just way too far away.
It's a weird eclectic group of guests. They're like, I think William Shatner was there, and the rule is you cannot touch him. Don't touch William Shatner.
He is 90 some years old. He'd probably fall apart like a fucking, porcelain doll or something.
Lita Ford was there, which I would like to meet Lita Ford. I ain't gonna fucking lie. And her prices wasn't too bad, right? I think it's like $25 an item or something. But she would not sign guitars, and she would not sign records, like record albums, which I'm like, what? That's the first time I've heard that.
That'd be the two main things you would want her to sign, I would think. So that is odd.
I can think something else she can sign.
God. Would you close your eyes forever?
Yes.
Yeah.
What would be fucking killer is like somebody brought a guitar up to her and act like they were going to get it signed and just start singing that song too. If you close your eyes,
have a little amp and just set the amp up on her table. That'd be so killer. It would be awesome. Anyway,
she I've heard she's a bitch too, Dirk. But I mean, come on. At least she's charging affordably.
I'm curious as to who the hell Garrett got from that.
Well, he got the two people from class of 1984.
Oh yeah, there was like a class of 1984 reunion or something there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that would have been cool to see. Meet a couple of those people, especially that chick. I can't remember her name, but Elizabeth Taylor. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not a big. I don't know when the last time I watched it. I may have. Did Anchor Bay do a DVD of that? I may have that.
Yeah,
it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, it's been 10 years.
But, yeah, that chick with like the crazy like colored hair, punk chick.
Mm-hmm.
She tells the teachers like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "Elizabeth Taylor," and sticks her tongue out.
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
I just remember, isn't Roddy McDowall in that movie?
Yeah,
I just remember him being really good in it. That's the main thing I recall about that movie.
Michael J. Fox as well.
Oh yeah, he was really young in that, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That was pre-Family Ties, maybe. I don't know what year that movie.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, so are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this. I think we got a super chat up there. Did you see it?
Oh wait, I didn't see the super chat. Seth Draken says about this show, I think, hey, as long as you don't shoot a dog in the face, you're fine. All right.
Well, you can totally get away with shooting a dog in the face in Eastern Kentucky. They do it pretty much.
The sad part about it is
it's no big deal at all.
That's actually true. A lot of people shoot dogs around here.
Right in the face.
For really no reason. Not us though, because we're all good people. And keep that in mind as we continue to go through these movies. So we got to start at the beginning, right? It's in chronological order. And the first film, and probably the first film that really made this genre popular, if not, defined it, then definitely made it popular, is 1971 Shaft. And I was really surprised when I watched it. And I'm just going to flat out tell you that, like, it's boring as shit. I can't.
I mean, it starts off really good, and you think it, but it does. It slows down right in the middle of the movie, and yeah, I mean, I had seen it one other time before. I think it was right when you remember the Shaft. I don't know if it was a remake or a sequel. The first one was Samuel L. Jackson. They did like a DVD version of the original with it or whatever. But yeah, it'd been many years. As far as any of these movies, I'm not really super familiar with. So going back and revisiting these is really like seeing them for the first time. But I mean, I didn't hate this movie, but yeah, it's kind of, aside from the soundtrack, it's very confusing why it has such a gigantic cult following still.
As I was watching, I was just thinking to myself, like, maybe because, like, it may be one of those films that was just so, I don't know what you would call it, like so different and ahead of its time at that point that, like, that's what made it as popular because I don't think anybody had seen a lot of that shit that's in there.
Well, Shaft getting him some white girl in the shower in 1971, dude. Like, God, I bet you here in Eastern Kentucky they didn't fucking play that movie. I would almost guarantee it. That shit in 1981 wouldn't get over in Eastern Kentucky, let alone not. I mean, everywhere in 1971, right? So that was pretty. I mean, this was like the girl was nude and everything, and they were making out in the shower. Like that's a pretty huge thing. For
and a lot of this stuff,
period.
a lot of the stuff where it's like, there's well, first of all, let's start with the plot of the film. So if you've listened to the song, you basically know the plot. He's like a private eye that, is paid off by this guy to find his daughter. And there's these bunch of different.
What's this guy's name?
Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Bumpy.
Bumpy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because he does say, like, I'll get you, Bumpy. So he says that to him. He goes, don't fuck with me. I'll get you, Bumpy.
The guy that plays Bumpy is Moses Gunn, who has been in a fucking ton of movies. I guess he was like a big character actor in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I always remember him from The Never Ending Story. He is briefly in that, which I don't know if you guys remember the scene. I think it's where they pick Atreyu to, in the, what it is, it's almost like a town hall thing, and he's the guy with the big cone head. That was Moses Gunn. It's been a while since you've seen Never Ending Story.
Yes, been a while for me.
But he's done a ton of shit too. Like, I mean, tons and tons of movies.
So part of the film though is based around like basically mobsters versus Shaft. And so you see him just like beating the shit out of like, mobsters and smacking them around and like hitting them with, there's a great scene in the bar where like a guy spits on him. He busts like a whiskey bottle over his head. And I feel like that, like,
that's maybe the best scene.
Yeah. Like 1971. I mean, yeah, that was probably pretty unusual to see this kind of stuff at that time.
Yeah. I think for me, like you said, Uncle Bill, it is pretty boring. I don't mind it. I think had you seen it back in 1971, it would have had a lot more punch. But I mean, okay, so like the opening, they spent about 10 minutes like setting up Shaft's character. And by that point, I'm like, okay, we get it. He's a badass. He's cool. Let's get going.
He's got a sweet leather coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, for me throughout, it's not really exploitive enough. Like,
no, it's not really an exploitation movie. That as I was watching, I'm like, it's kind of just like a detective.
It's a detective story.
Yeah.
I guess with a black lead, maybe that was like one of the big draws. The majority of the cast is black, but still, it just, I don't know. I don't see the big deal about like why it's so classic. That's just me though.
Well, that's like I'm saying earlier is that like there's a lot of films, and especially when it comes to these exploitation films, we're one of the first ones to do it, and like the formula is still early on.
Was it one of the first ones to use that type of music too? Because that like all the other ones that came afterwards was very similar.
Yeah,
like the Isaac Hayes score and theme and everything, and then just the one-liners in the songs and stuff like that got people. I don't know if they were laughing at the time or what, if they just thought it was cool. But yeah, I think that's part of it too. Like this may have been the first one that did that sort of thing with the music and all that.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of the soundtrack and then, Richard Roundtree wasn't even fairly known at the time. That was only his second movie and he was his first leading role. So I don't know what the big draw was really. It's just more of a product of its time to me, I guess.
Yeah,
there's
I feel that way in a way about like a movie like The French Connection or something. I mean, I love The French Connection in a way,
but it's kind of boring.
It is. It drags in a lot of parts, and it started like that whole tough cop subgenre or whatever. But I don't think it's the best one of that genre. I just think it happened to start all that shit. but it's still a good film, and this is still a good film, but it's just not. It's not in the spirit of everything else we're going to talk about. I'll put it that way.
No, it's not really, like you said, not very exploitative. It's more of like just a straightforward kind of a crime story, detective story. But I think just like, it being so early into the 70s and like having that like main actor being kind of like a black crime fighting, kind of dude with a badass soundtrack behind him. It kind of was an early film to do that kind of thing. I didn't think it was like too boring. I wouldn't call it boring. I would say for me, it was more like it just had like not much of a sense of urgency to it in a way. Like with the plot, it was just kind of like
it took its time.
Following the steps. Yeah. Just kind of just paint by numbers kind of thing. But the music is great, and every time it's on, it's like real catchy, and it's great stuff. And then there's like a couple highlight scenes to me, like the scene when he's in the bar pretending to be the bartender, because he knows the mob guys are in there, and like knowing that they're probably looking for him, and he's pretending to be it's like a gay bar, isn't it?
They don't care about that sort of thing. Yeah, there was a gay character. Didn't they say this was the first character in a movie that admitted to being homosexual or something like that? Like I was reading.
I don't know.
I think it was the guy in a bar. Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't like a full-on gay bar, because there were women and stuff in there, but I just remember the gay dude talking about one of the women across the room, the white woman that he gets with in the shower later on. I'm pretty sure that's the same girl, right? Yeah. So like, yeah, but when he finally busts that bottle over that mobster's head in there, and it's like the blood effects were really good too in that scene. It was like it was like just a real badass shot of him like busting that bottle over his head and bleeding everywhere. I don't know, like I personally wouldn't say for me it wasn't boring, but it's not real exciting.
It's got some fun stuff in it. There's a line that I wrote occasionally, like I'll take notes and write down lines and shit. This was right after he threw this one dude out the window, like the first, the first 15, 20 minutes. He says, "That's some cold shit, throwing my boy Leroy out the window."
Yes, I
I popped at that. I was like, holy shit, that's great.
That's some cold shit.
There's a line in it that I didn't even recognize, but I'd heard it a million times before, and it's a line where he goes, he says something like, "You better watch your mouth in here," and he goes, "I'll say any damn thing I want," and that's actually sampled on like a White Zombie song, and like at the beginning of White Zombie, and I'd heard that like a million times, had no idea what it was from, but like, yeah, it was from that scene. It's just, to me, it's like, okay, so it's a detective story. You got the beginning. The beginning's fucking awesome because they got the song, and the start of the film, I was like, holy shit, this is going to be amazing, because like it starts with that song, and then like him coming up out of like the subway, and like,
it was
like
in New York City
intro.
too, by the way. Did we mention that? So fans of, like there's a lot of people that love looking at like old school New York City, and you get some great shots there as well. And the movie oozes 1970s as well. The fashion,
yes,
the music,
just the atmosphere overall.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of that type of thing too. So.
Yeah, that was amazing. That
was one of the best parts for me. And
then it just from that point until I like the end of the film too, because you got like, so basically he goes through and like they just show him being a detective and a couple different things happen, but then they show him like getting hooked up with the guy who wants him to find the daughter, which is the main plot of the film. And the rest of it is him just trying to like shake down people and like find information about where she's being kept and all this stuff. And so he goes there and breaks in, then he gets shot and basically is out of commission for a while. Then at the end of the film, he puts together like a team to kind of like bum rush this entire, gangster operation to get to the daughter. And so the ending's pretty killer too. But all the shit in between is just very, like, it seemed very much to me like I know they had a story to tell, but like that they were just putting shit in there to make the movie like an hour and a half or however long it is, like long, like it's just long drawn out sequences of him talking to people in bars and him talking to people out in the street, and just
There's I think in all three of these movies we're talking about, there's all kinds of like slurs that are used, not just racial slurs, but all kinds of shit that would not fly today, no, at all.
I mean, every one of these films gives no shits about any of that.
No, and that's like it's fucking hilarious though, because like you hear them talking like that in these movies, and it just like makes me laugh every time.
It's so like, commonplace for the time. That's what's so funny. Like it's nobody not even bad characters. It's just everybody talks that way.
Yeah, nobody batted an eye around this time period. Because I mean, I don't know. Maybe everybody talked that way then. I think they probably did.
I think they probably did. Yeah, I just think that was a reflection of what was actually going on. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's everybody in the movies talking like that. It's not like
not just the hero characters,
white people. Yeah, you know, it's just like every race is like throwing out slurs about everybody. So it's definitely a different time.
You had mentioned the soundtrack though before, and I don't know if we said on here, Isaac Hayes, who went on to, you know, have further fame with South Park as chef for many years. But yeah, he's mainly he got that. Yeah, went kind of ape shit right before he passed away, unfortunately. But won an Academy Award, I think, for best soundtrack that year, or best song, or something like that. And the soundtrack is great. It's like, I mean, I think a lot of stuff in this movie's dated. This soundtrack may be dated, but I think this soundtrack will forever be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it got a Grammy as well. I had seen that he wanted to play the lead, which I don't know how well that would have worked given the time. I'm not sure about his acting skills back then, but I think Richard Roundtree was definitely the better way to go.
Well, they could have found a role for him, though. He would have fit right in, you know, as one of the baddies or something, you know. I don't know.
A lot of people don't realize, too, that this was actually filmed based on a set of like books too, which I didn't know until like I started doing research for this. Like this was not like a screenplay. Well, it was, but I mean, it wasn't based off of like a idea like that. It was already a set of novels that were out around this time, and they just kind of adapted that. And I can't imagine like really anybody else doing that except for Roundtree. He kind of made like a whole career off this one movie, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like everybody, like up to the point, you know.
Well, they had like a couple of Shaft sequels too, didn't they? Or did they just do one?
Like
TV
Shaft
series as well.
I think was one of them. And
well, there's the Samuel L. Jackson Shaft, which was a huge hit when it came out. And then I didn't even remember that they did a follow-up to that a few years ago. I completely forgot about that. I was like, what? When the fuck did that come out? But yeah, I think he was like the nephew of John Shaft.
Yeah.
In the Samuel L. Jackson movies.
And here's where it really like kind of gets interesting. And I think this is why that we're even talking about this subgenre today. So Shaft had a budget of $500,000 and it made $13 million. So, I mean, it was incredibly successful.
I think it was one of the movies that saved MGM from bankruptcy. I'd read that. So that's pretty interesting considering MGM is still a pretty huge company to this day. So, it definitely influenced a fucking ton of these sort of movies over the next, at least for 5-6 years. They were pretty hardcore.
All through the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say like, I wouldn't turn people away from watching it at all. I just think like, don't expect it to be as like intense or I guess as fun to watch as a lot of the other ones that would come after it. But if you're wanting to see if you like these crime detective stories, but like with that cool kind of like funky aspect to it, you know, with a little bit of the like the Blaxsploitation thrown in there, because like you said, it's not really that exploitation-y when you're really watching it now compared to the other ones. But I would definitely still recommend people watch it if you're looking for like an early example of something like that.
Yeah, this one doesn't really, well, I guess at the time it may not have even been around, the whole Sam Arkoff formula. That would come a little bit later. But if it just had a little bit more nudity, like going into it for the first time, I'm not expecting to see Richard Roundtree's bare ass as like the first shot of nudity, you know. Like, that's not really what I wanted. Just a little bit more female nudity being gratuitous, a little bit more violence, I would have been all in.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's another film that we'll talk about that definitely hits all those points.
Yep,
Yeah.
I know.
And that's the one that follows the Arkoff formula, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it took a few years for them to get that perfect formula, right? So,
yeah, that's the same with all these genres, though. That's what I was saying. Like, I mean, like there's the one that comes first and forges like everything, but it's not necessarily like got it all figured out yet, or really knows like what people want to see per se. Or maybe they just pick apart like certain parts of this movie and kind of like, you know, hyper focused on them in the later movies. But it's completely different than what you're used to when you think about exploitation film. Like when I think about exploitation film in this subgenre, I think about like Coffy, Foxy Brown, a lot of those movies like that. Like so, and which we'll get to later, but. And that had a very distinctive formula, which was somebody gets killed every 5 minutes. There's tits every 5 minutes. There's like, you know,
drugs and
crazy shit going on like all the time. But yeah, I mean, I was disappointed in Shaft.
Evidently, Shaft from 2019 is no count at all.
That's going to get clipped by CK. When me saying I was disappointed in Shaft, used many times. Guarantee it.
I had never seen any. I never saw Shaft in Africa or whatever it is. Is that the second one?
The third one.
The third. Oh, okay. So yeah. See, I didn't even know that. I apparently Criterion. I knew Criterion put out a 4K of Shaft, and apparently it has one of those other films or both of the other films included in the set. So that's kind of interesting because that Shaft 4K is actually not that old. I want to say it came out within the past year from Criterion.
Okay.
Cool.
Has anybody seen any of the others? Like the Shaft's Big Score or anything like that?
No.
I don't know. Just curious. Anyway, this movie is in the Library of Congress, so.
I have seen the 2000 one, the one with Sam Jackson.
I've never seen that.
No, I haven't either.
There was a time period there where I was like, I'm not watching anything Samuel L. Jackson because he was putting out a movie every fucking 3 months, man. Like, it's like, Jesus Christ, like, I can't keep up. So I just kind of gave up on him in general.
What's funny though is Samuel L. Jackson. So Richard Roundtree is the uncle. Samuel L. Jackson's the nephew, and there's like 3 years in between those guys' age. 3 or 4 years or something like that. I thought that was funny. Just for men, and shaving your head will do a lot, boss.
So I guess then that, you know, chronologically speaking, the next one is Blacula, and this is 1972. I fucking marked out some of this shit in this movie, though. I'm just going to be honest, because there's a scene. Okay, the very beginning of the movie is him, William Marshall, who's great in this movie.
Yeah,
He's playing. He's amazing. He's playing like he's sent over to try to stop the slave trade that's coming through from Africa to Count Dracula's fucking castle. I'm like, what does this? How does this make any sense? But like, he's there, and no shit, like Count Dracula ambushes him and his wife, and like kills them both. And then there's a scene where he goes, "I'm gonna give you like my worst curse. You will become," and then there's a long fucking pause. Blacula. Like, goddamn. Like, they really hammered that home too. Like
that whole opening establishing of the story, that first 10 minutes or whatever it is, just I was almost dying laughing because some of the dialogue.
It's so racist.
It's so bad, but like you're just like it's so over the top that you just can't help but like laugh at it because it's just like like you said, the Blacula part. You're like, who's coming?
He says
up with
that
this?
twice. Like he says that twice in like 5 minutes.
And it's like dead serious too. It's not like it's like. I mean, they had to know that this is obviously like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, but like the movie is played so straight, like it doesn't seem like it's aware so much as you would think it is of its own like stupidity.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like
you gotta when they fast forward to modern day, where's he at, Uncle Bill?
Listen.
So fucking killer.
Just listen for a second. Because I think the only person that was actually taking this movie completely seriously was William Marshall. He's the only one that was playing it like serious. Because when you, I can't even say this, when you fast forward to like present day, they're like,
how in the fuck did he get to Los Angeles, by the way?
They took him on a ship, remember?
Yeah. Sure. But like two guys are
that was Dracula, not Blacula. Right.
Yeah. Well, Blacula is still in the castle because two guys are trying to buy the castle. That's all I'll say is two guys are trying to buy the castle.
Two gentlemen.
Yeah. And like that whole sequence, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, they're kind of like throwaway characters, right?
Yeah, because they get killed in like 5 minutes.
They're home decorators.
They're home. They really are. They're like antique dealers. I'm not shitting you. So like,
right.
Yeah.
That was apparently very controversial at the time.
I would imagine. Yeah. I would imagine. And then like you see, and the funniest part about Blacula to me, and I could not help but laugh at this, is that the only distinguishing feature that makes Blacula and not like the Count is he's got big fucking mutton chops, sideburns.
It's almost like a Keanu Reeves beard or something that he just magically grows. Yeah, big bushy eyebrows.
And that just killed me, man. Like that he just went in and out of that. Like, and you could tell the budget was nothing because they barely had the budget for the mutton chops. I feel like
back in the 1700s. Now they said he was an African prince, right? Mama
Waldy.
Yeah.
Mama Waldy. Interesting name. And then the lead actress, Vanetta McGee is the actress's name, played like a dual role of his wife. And then Tina in modern day, or in like 1972 or whatever. She was a very good looking woman though, by the way. I was like,
yeah.
And way like it could be Blacula's daughter pretty much, right? But that's his love interest. She's probably 25 years younger than him at least. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
So I don't think that their dynamic really worked that well together. But yeah, he quickly brainwashes her, and they kind of make out quite a bit, which I bet old Willie enjoyed that.
Some of the greatest scenes, though, towards the earlier parts of this movie, once he gets back to Los Angeles, is him running around the streets in that cape.
Yep.
He's running after the woman that he thinks is his, which it is his wife or whatever, but it's like in modern day. And the scene in the funeral home when they're kind of talking about that guy's body, the guy that was killed by Blacula, and he's like, well, he has no blood left in him, and you didn't embalm him, but somehow he doesn't have any blood left in him. And the one scene where when the detective or the police officer guy finally leaves, and I can't say it.
Oh yeah, I know which line you're talking about.
When he's like, "Oh yeah," like
shit, yeah.
The funeral director's like, "Oh yes, officer, I'm here to help you. Don't worry." But the cop is being kind of a dick to him, and just the guy funeral director turns around when he's alone and
he
just
says it, and then the scene ends. Like that's the end of the scene.
He says a line. It made me like. I just burst out laughing when he says that line. I can't say it.
So,
but
I'm glad you brought it up though, because it like brings up kind of who the Van Helsing is in the movie, which is this doctor who, is investigating this series of deaths. Like, and he's the one that's kind of like figures out like what's going on.
And his Tina's his niece or something, right? Wasn't that the deal?
I think that's the deal, yeah. And so it follows the Dracula storyline pretty close, right? Just a couple like different things. So his wife gets killed, in the beginning of the film, and then he finds somebody that looks pretty much identical to her in present day, and then he becomes obsessed. I mean, Blacula becomes obsessed with her, and then there's this other character which is kind of supposed to be the Van Helsing character, which is just a doctor in this movie, who is investigating this series of deaths of people that just keep disappearing whenever he's around. So it stays pretty close to Dracula, actually. And the only difference is just the level of just slurs and just crazy like exploitive shit that happens throughout the film.
Blacula's bite is out of sight, they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the look on his face whenever like he's getting ready to like go and attack somebody and bite them, like when he jumps out in front of the cab driver lady, and he's chasing after the woman, and then he jumps out in front of the cab lady gets out, and she's like bitching up a storm at him, and he's just like calls her an imbecile, and she turns around. She turns around and she's like, "You're the one that jumped out in front of my cab, boy." And then he like turns around real slow with like that smile, and you see his fangs, and she's like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry." It's just like he's like that slow crawl in of like him staring at her. It's like it's
she knows that she's fucking cussed at the wrong dude.
Yeah.
Oh god. But honestly though, like for the bulk of the middle of the movie, kind of similar to how you felt about Shaft, I kind of felt about this one, because the bulk of the middle of it, I kind of was losing interest a little bit. It just wasn't, it was played so serious for like, and so straight for a lot of it, that it kind of wasn't really hitting the spot for me. I guess it wasn't what I expected. This was the first time I had seen it. I don't know how you guys felt about that. Did it really?
I didn't really know what to expect. Like,
yeah,
like what?
I didn't either. Like, I didn't recall ever seeing this one before. So I didn't. I mean, I was thinking maybe it would be a tad more hokey than what it was, but I think it works because it's kind of hokey. But William Marshall, that was his name, right?
I want to say
William Marshall. Yeah. He plays it serious and it's got goofy shit just going on around him, and that actually works pretty good for this movie. So he's a big old motherfucker too, with a very deep voice. We need to say, reminds me of James L. Jones.
He's a very like good presence in the film. I'll say that. Like, everybody else is kind of like half-assed and goofing around, but he's the only one that just stays completely like.
Well, what's crazy is he had been an actor since the early 1950s at this point. So he'd been in the business for over 20 years when he made this. So I think he knew what he was doing. So we'll give him a lot of credits for, how good this movie is. I think he's a lot to do with it.
Yeah, it wasn't really slow for me. I mean, I was very interested to see what he was going to do next. I think it also helps the running time. It is an even 90 minutes. So it is shorter than Shaft. And that's kind of my thing with Shaft. Like, I felt like it was going on a little long. But yeah, just the way he plays the character, I think that's what entertains me so much. Some of the other side characters were interesting too. The chick, Tina, she was really fun. I do like his morgue assistant, which is, I think his name is Elijah Cook or something like that. I always remembered him from House on Haunted Hill, the William Castle one. I think the cast for me is what got me through as well, not just the lead, Blacula. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I mean, I actually really would like to check out the sequel. I've never seen it. Have you guys seen the sequel before?
Scream,
No.
Blacula Scream.
Yeah.
I mean, this would be a cool
I
one.
kid
Maybe
you not. That's the name of the sequel.
How many sequels were there?
Just one.
Just
the
one. Okay, so that may be a cool one for one of these boutique labels to do like an upgraded version of both of those movies. It'd be pretty neat. Crater mentioned on here and definitely wanted it. The end of the movie where Blacula seemingly, and we don't really want to give it away, but shit. He kills himself, we'll go ahead and say, and then the sun, like he walks out into the sunlight, and the effect of the melting Blacula is pretty damn cool. What it reminded me of now, and I know Matt's probably too young for this. I don't know if Mark will remember this or not. Do you remember the Mad Scientist toy in the 80s where you could put all that crap? That's what that looked like to me, like where you put all this crap on the monster and then dip him in like it was water or something, right? And like all this shit come melting off his face. So it reminded me of that. I thought it was really cool looking. He had worms and shit, coming out of him and stuff.
That whole end scene I thought was really good because you got like basically up to that point, just a couple of people, here and there get killed. And it's your typical Dracula stuff, right? Like they just get bitten and then they end up in
they have like a horde of the vampires at the end, kind of.
Which, by the way, that makeup on the minions or whatever is not great. It's
they look
green,
like leftover zombies from Dawn of the Dead or something with fangs.
Exactly. It's not good at all. But that end scene is good because they basically, like, he's got a great monologue before that where he's like, this will, you guys look around because this will be your eternal tomb and all this stuff. I'm going to kill everybody that has anything to do with you, talking about the doctor or whatever. And then he proceeds to go kill everybody that has anything to do with him, except for like a couple of people that make it out. And that whole sequence I thought was really good at the end.
Yeah, all the fire stunts and stuff.
Yeah. There's like 5 fire stunts at the end of the movie that look pretty gnarly. But
we have over 103 people in here, so we appreciate everybody coming in here and checking this out tonight because it is not really strictly horror tonight. We're changing it up a little bit. Uncle Bill's come up with the ExploitNation show, and you got I want to put this all in a playlist, this first season or whatever. So if you guys haven't checked out the other shows, well, this is the finale of season 1, right? I don't know if you mentioned that on here.
Yeah, this is going to be like the end of the season of ExploitNation. And then I'm going to pick up in 2 weeks with the return of the tour of Italy. And I'm going to do Umberto Lenzi next. Lenzi is interesting because Lenzi did giallos, he did cannibal films, he did straight up horror films, crime film. He's going to be great because like there's a whole bunch of different shit you can talk about like with him. So I'm going to bring that back, and then when we get done with that, we'll transition back into ExploitNation and then just go into the second season of that. That's kind of how I'm hoping to.
I think with the exploitation movies, it's pretty endless. Like you could go on forever.
Oh yeah.
With them. And
there's so many different ones.
Yeah. So
this one was the first, from what I saw, Blaxsploitation horror movie, and it kicked off a whole subgenre. You had Blackenstein.
Well, I was going to ask that. Like, is this like the first one that combined those two things?
I think so.
All right. Yeah. So then you had like, what was it? There was one that was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but it was something else. But it was
Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde.
Didn't they have one called Blackenstein or something like that?
There was Blackenstein.
Yeah.
And then
Abby as well,
Abby
which was
The Exorcist.
Yeah, which I think AIP got sued by Warner Brothers because they said they were ripping it off. So that's a whole nother topic and story.
That would be an interesting one too, just to do a whole show about all of the different, like, that's like a subgenre.
Yeah. I think you could do a whole show on William Girdler for an ExploitNation show, because all of his stuff was drive-in exploitation movies, pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. Like because he did Grizzly and stuff too. But yeah, like, I don't know. Blacula I like better than Shaft. I'm just going to be straight up with it. Like, I didn't love it. I don't like vampire films. That's just a bias of mine. Like, I never have. I don't give a shit what type of vampire film it is. I just don't dig that genre. Like, I mean, Fright Night's great and everything, but the older Hammer stuff and the Universal stuff, I don't give a fuck. I've tried, but I just have to be honest that I don't fucking care.
Vampires!
I tried to give him a shot, but I just
Well, you got against vampires, boy.
They bore the piss out of me, to be honest. Like, but in this case, like, it was okay, actually. Mostly like because like what Mark said, the cast was really good. So I mean, at least there was that. And it seemed to work.
There was a couple of other people like Dr. Thomas, who's played by I think it's Thalmus Rasulala or something like that.
Oh, Thalmus.
Yeah.
Thalmus and Louise.
Yeah, he would go on to have a pretty lengthy career popping up in a lot of cool, like late 80s, early 90s stuff, like New Jack City, Above the Law, stuff like that. And all movies I really enjoy. And same with Vonetta McGee, who played Tina. And actually, around that time, she was dating Max Julian, who was the lead in The Mac. It's another big Blaxsploitation movie. So you could kind of play like a 3 Degrees of Separation game with all these actors.
I think those little tight afros need to make a comeback like she had in that movie. I like that a lot. That was knife, baby.
I'm glad you did.
We'll
talk about that and how that's used as a weapon in this next film too, which was great. But also, I didn't realize this, but did you know that Scream Factory put out Blacula with Scream Blacula Scream and like a double?
I don't
feature?
support Scream Factory. Fuck them. I'm gonna wait for a better edition to come out.
I'm just telling you, they did. I wonder if that's like still in print. I doubt it at this point. That's probably like really early on. Anyway, Blacula.
Am I going to buy that deal?
He's not going to buy it. Blacula made around $2 million at the box office, and it says here that it was one of the highest grossing films of 1972. So it's a pretty big hit, apparently.
Wow, surprising.
Yep. But I don't know. I don't know how to rate movies like this, but like I give it a solid 6.
What'd you give? You didn't even rate.
Fuck. If I was going to rate Shaft, I'd probably give it like 4 or 5. Like, I don't know. It just wasn't my thing.
I would say I think I give Blacula maybe like a 3, like out of 5, like a 3 to 3.5, maybe something in there. And then same with Shaft. I kind of would rate them around the same for me personally. I think this one's more fun. Blacula's more fun, but it's kind of a matter of taste between the two. Like, what do you want to see more? The more of the like kind of vigilante action kind of. Well, not vigilante, but the detective story thing, or do you want to see the goofy, horror-based story? So, they're both fine to me.
I would say if you're doing them out of 5, I would do Shaft is a 3. I would give Blacula 4 out of 5.
Same.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, Blacula is a lot more in the spirit of exploitation films. I think it's a lot more fun. Shaft is dead serious and not really like,
Even though we didn't mention this, but Blacula is supposed to be a straight up horror film. It's not a horror comedy.
They ain't no fucking way, Mark. From the beginning of that movie, are you serious?
The first scene.
Not a comedy.
There's no way.
Well, why was I laughing so much?
If they did that straight, man, then that's crazy for the time.
William Crane was the director of Blacula, is what it says here.
His first movie too.
Just every single line of dialogue in that first 10 minutes is hysterical. It's so wrong and so out there, out of left field. You're just like, what in the world?
It really is, man. And then it transitions from that like right into the scene with the two guys at the I'm like, there's no way. This is
I do need to let everybody know, if you go on shop.deadpit.com, there is an exclusive Blacula shirt that is up there. It debuted today on the shop. So check it out. I think it's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That is pretty cool. Oh, we didn't even talk about him turning into the bat in the movie.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean,
Yeah, the fade. Yeah.
like the special effects are special.
They're
I mean,
very
it's
special.
a lot of a lot of that time fade stuff.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just like you can see it on camera, like the time fade thing, where it just kind of, you know, dissolves into a bat, dissolves into facial hair,
Like
whatever,
a rubber bat flapping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the melting at the end, that was really good.
That was good.
They
yeah.
saved the budget for that. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, you got
yeah.
It's 1972, man. That's pretty early, like for special effects and stuff. So that was good.
Crater says we didn't even talk about Skillet, but I don't remember who the fuck Skillet was.
The band, isn't there a band called Skillet?
Oh, the band. Okay.
No, the Skillet is the one guy who kept coming to the table. You guys know him. He kept saying that Blacula was really strange. He just kept popping up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
man, what was his line? He says the same line. He's like, "That is one weird dude," or something,
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the band actually is a real band. Their name is the Hughes Corporation. I'm not really into the music, but I have heard of them before.
You got a
They,
couple of their vinyl.
No,
Yeah.
oh God, no.
Mars.
That is one. That's the line. That is one strange dude.
You know they
He says
wanted
it
that
like
somehow
more
or
than
another to be like a tie into the movie. You know, they show it in the trailer or something.
Yeah, he went on to do more stuff with William Crane, Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. He's in that along with William Marshall. The original Fun with Dick and Jane. He was around for a while. Harlem Nights, which is a really fun movie. He was in that too.
Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. It's been
That was a
forever
great
since I've
movie.
seen that. Yeah, haven't seen that in a long time. But yeah, so this was his first movie. It's pretty interesting.
So Blacula, Blacula. I like Blacula, so I recommend that one. And the next one, I don't think I could recommend anymore because to me, it's the epitome of like everything awesome about exploitation films in one movie. Really, first of all, it's Jack Hill. Which, if anybody out there doesn't know who Jack Hill is,
Yeah.
to me, he's like one of the best exploitation filmmakers of all time. Switchblade Sisters influenced Tarantino like a ton.
I think all of those
Spider
movies.
Baby.
Yeah.
I got this Blu-ray recently in the Women in Cages with 2 Jack Hill films.
Yep.
Big Dollhouse in particular. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Big
They both
Dollhouse.
have Pam Grier and Sid Haig in them. Yeah,
Exactly.
those are fun. Yeah.
And I have not seen Women in Cages yet. But yeah, I got to check these out.
So
they call a coffee that should cream you.
look,
The
is that
little
really the tagline?
Yes.
character songs are so good. I love
Oh,
the
they
King
are.
George song.
Yeah, King George has his own fucking theme song. He's like a wrestler. That guy looks so familiar too, and I was like, "Fuck, what the fuck?" And I think it was RoboCop. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
when he was much older.
When I saw him though, I immediately knew I'd seen him in something else. I could not figure out what the fuck it was, but yeah.
Yeah,
This you're right though, because this movie like has Sid Haig in a pretty decent role. Like,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
one of the lead
Yeah.
heels at the end, and it's got a lot of people that as they come in and out of it, like you kind of recognize them. But you know, the main portion of the movie is dedicated to Pam Grier,
and
who
titties.
plays Coffy, and lots. Here's the thing about this fucking movie, all right? Like we talk about these other movies kind of being tame. This one is like almost every. If they get into a fight, somebody's like shirt's getting ripped off, and there's titties for no
There's
reason.
one scene where like all the other like hookers are jealous of Pam Grier just because she's fucking Pam Grier, 1973. and they spilled drinks on her or something. And then I don't know if this was supposed to happen. The other prostitute just undid the top of her dress. She's like, oh, did it? Oh.
No reason.
Yeah, no reason at all. She's like, take it off.
Who the fuck would fight like that anyway? Like she's like throwing punches, but then she'll like just jerk your shirt off.
Well, she didn't even jerk it off. She just unhooked it.
No, but I mean, there's other scenes in the film, where like that's how they fight. They like will punch and slap and then jerk like clothing off, like just randomly.
Dude, like I didn't, like I said, I didn't grow up in this time frame. I just remember old Pam Grier, unfortunately. But Jesus, there's no denying. Holy shit, like she is insanely hot in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, unbeatable. Yeah. For sure. But
Yeah,
this is. Go ahead, Mark.
I was gonna say, like this is how you want an exploitation movie to start.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, within the first 3 to 5 minutes, you get violence, sex, and drugs all right in a row.
They set everything up really within 5 minutes. You know what you're in for with the movie and everything. And Coffy's got this relationship with this. Isn't he going to be a senator or something like that? And you know that's got something to do with the other plot line because they never go back to that until towards the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the storyline is basically like she's avenging her sister that overdosed on some bad smack or whatever the hell it was.
That whole sequence, I couldn't help but laugh because I'm like, what the fuck happened to her? She's just like, and then they have that hospital, and I swear to God, this is in the film. It's supposed to be a hospital for people that use drugs and had like bad, drug episodes where, and it's such a wide range of. It looks like an insane asylum. There's people just walking around like, ooh, and then she's just like comatose. So what fucking drug they used that did this to him? And they don't explain what happened to her. She's just mute now.
She took too many gummies.
She took the Steve dosage of gummies and fucking went mute.
That reminded me though. This is how she was in the movie, by the way. Give me an idea.
So yeah, the whole like plot of the movie is just her trying to get like vengeance on all these dope dealers for what happened to her sister. That's it. That's all you really need too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that, and she's friends with that cop who, she's friends with the cop, and then
friendly cop's trying to get in her draws.
Yeah,
but never does, and gets brain damage for his trouble.
That's right. Yeah. He gets permanently fucking brain damage, which is another part of like, what?
Yeah, these dope guys, they just come in and like beat the shit out of that cop in his house, and then he's left laid up in a hospital, and he's like permanently disabled or whatever after that encounter. But the one thing I don't want to forget to mention this at the beginning when she pulls off that stunt with the drug dealer when she gets back to the a hotel room or wherever they're at, and she's trying to seduce the guy, and she pulls a shotgun on him right there at the beginning, blows the guy's head off,
and they kind of show it.
Yeah, almost quick cut. Almost kind of a little bit of a similarity to like Dawn of the Dead there, with the shotgun blowing the head off scene. But the one thing I wanted to mention about that is the other guy who's in the bathroom, like shooting dope in the bathroom, and she goes in and she's pointing a gun at him, and she makes him shoot. I guess it's heroin, right? It's like heroin.
Yeah.
And he's like, just one of the best lines of dialogue in the whole movie. She's like, no, you're going to shoot this, and he's like, I can't shoot that. That shit's going to kill me. And Pam Grier says, maybe it will and maybe it won't. But if it does, you're going to fly through the pearly gates with the biggest fucking smile St. Peter's ever seen.
Yeah, that is a great
I died laughing at that. That's one of the best lines of dialogue I've ever heard.
Ethel has a cameo in this.
I fucking marked out too when I saw her. I was like, I knew immediately, but she looks I was thinking, man, like there's only what about 10 years difference, 13 years difference in these two movies, like
Yeah, about
Coffee and
12
Friday.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks completely different. Like, I don't know, maybe that was a makeup or wig or shit they had her wear
wig,
in
yeah.
Friday 5, but yeah.
She was wearing a wig in the Friday. I think they made her up to be older in that movie than she actually was.
Yeah, but it's wild to see her, like, first of all, she's much younger, but second of all, she's trying to look like sexy. And it just my brain just can't process that.
No,
her trying to be sexy.
she was credited as Carol Lawson. I wonder if that's her real name. At the end of the movie, I noticed. That's kind of interesting.
She's briefly in it. Like,
Yeah,
she plays a hua, and then
there's lots of whoas.
hua.
You know, it's probably the first half of the movie. Pam Grier shows her tits almost in every fucking scene.
Mhm.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Thank you very much for throwing me that.
Well, I mean, all the women.
Every
do. I
one of
don't
those
think-
movies,
yeah.
by the way.
I don't think any of the women in the movie don't show anything. They all
No.
pretty much do, which is great. So,
But I think
Wouldn't
maybe
be mad
one
at
of
that.
and there's so many great scenes in the movie, but the food fight sequence is bar none one of the funniest fight scenes, because they're all, she throws the salad, Pam Grier throws the salad on the girl, they all start fighting, and when Pam Grier takes that metal serving plate or whatever and start beating people over the head, and it makes that
WWE style.
Yeah.
Fucking,
I was loving every minute of that.
Jack's getting ready to buy this. He's asking if Apple shows her tits.
no, thank God.
No, but Umbrella did put out a special edition Blu-ray of Coffee that I just found that out actually myself yesterday. So the Umbrella usually does really good releases, so that's kind of crazy. They did like a big like $55 set for it too. There's a standard and then there's a big set with like lobby cards and shit. So
I mean,
people
all
looking
those
at
movies
that.
are great, to be honest. Like like Foxy Brown, Sheba Baby. They're all fucking great.
This was what made her kind of a star, though, right?
This is
movie.
the first one. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is the one that really like started all this shit. And yeah, Super Batman Nerd brings up probably one of my favorite parts of the movie is like, I guess predicting that somebody was going to try to grab her hair in a fight or something like that. She fucking razor blades in her hair.
That's very,
and,
that's kind of risky, wouldn't you think? I mean, how would you? I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah, how did they stay like?
You just sprinkle them. You just sprinkle razor blades in your hair.
Yeah, what if you
Skittles.
actually fall in the back of your head and then you're like, you're fucked.
She walks it off. She's fine.
She has like a variety of weapons in her afro, and I think that was her.
Mhm.
That was her idea.
Yeah.
And at the scene with her and Sid Haig, is it like it's a long pin or something like that? That she's
It's like a paper clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she kind of woodpecker style. And
He's bleeding all over.
fucking,
Yeah.
tons of blood and everything. And
Did
Sid
they
Haig
ever
is-
go
Oh,
back
wait,
to his
sorry.
character? I think he just bled out, right?
yeah,
that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were leading you to believe he just bled to death. Yeah, because everybody left him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's,
And he's
great,
great.
in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Really
he
good,
really
yeah.
is. I mean, he's so like he's very young in this too, so it's almost weird. People that only know him from his later work, obviously like the Rob Zombie stuff. That's what everybody nowadays thinks Sid Haig. They think of Captain Spaulding, but to see him in these earlier films, like especially like Big Dollhouse, he's great in that. But in
Spider
this,
Baby.
he's almost got like that Bond villain vibe to him.
Yeah.
In this.
He does. yeah.
You could see kind of like too in this movie, like what would become Captain Spaulding, because he had like the stare and kind of like the fucking, the
Yeah.
whole
Smart ass attitude. Yeah.
yeah, and just the real intense, like when he's getting ready to kill somebody, the intensity where it kind of shifts from him being kind of playful to being, dead on, just not going to fucking kill you in like a split second. And I could totally see why they picked him now. Like Rob Zombie going back and watching these movies and like trying to I can totally see like what he saw that he was looking for in it. It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that might set him apart would be like the accent or whatever that he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays like what, Middle Eastern or something? Like Omar or
Isn't
something
he
like
Middle
that?
Eastern?
That's what I
Is
don't know
he?
what the fuck said. I have
think
no idea.
he's from some other country. I don't know. I mean, I think that somebody in the chat can look it up and tell us. But yeah, I don't know if he's Middle Eastern or what. But yeah,
We interviewed his ass, didn't we?
he didn't have an accent. He didn't have an accent at all then, so he may have been putting the accent on. But he's
I know.
Armenian.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I know he was then, but we should have asked him like that at the time. But that's another one too, where like I know we interviewed him, right?
Mhm.
But I don't remember a damn thing about that interview either.
Very laid back, cool guy. A few months after that, he waved me over at his table at Scarefest, and I got to talk with him in person for a little while. Very cool guy. He was selling Captain Spaulding panties at his table at Scarefest that year.
Of course he was.
You selling many of those? And he was like, hell no, man. It's a sausage factory here or something like that.
Yeah, he was great. I met him once as well. And his film career is just huge. So many different kinds of films from so many different styles, and just through the decades, his career is really crazy. But do you have any like favorite scenes from Coffy? Because this is, to me,
all of them,
Oh,
like the whole
yeah.
fucking movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best one. I think that it's obviously the best one we're talking about tonight, but it is one of the best Blaxsploitation movies. I
like the very end of the movie where the senator guy is like pleading with her, oh, I love you, baby, or whatever else. And then he's got this other big tittied white woman that comes up, where are you at? Won't you come back up here and fuck me again? And she pretty much just blows him away. So I like that.
No, for me, it's go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, for me, it's definitely Sid Haig killing King George. That's just
That's
priceless.
brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to mention that. That's probably one of the better scenes as well. Insane. That's a really brutal, when you think about it, it's crazy. They noose the guy up and tie him to the car and then just drive. It's almost funny though, because you can he's just like driving that car so fast. And when he does those donuts in that like junkyard and the guy's body is just like slamming off his stuff.
Yeah.
Well, what's killer about it too is that it's clearly first a stunt guy, and then like as they speed up, it's just a mannequin. Something just bashing into shit.
Something else you got to think about too, though, like the time frame. So this was 1973. This was a black man that was being drug new style
lynched.
That's what Sid Haig says. Yeah, he's lynched. That's how he that's how he lynches people.
It's very effective now, but could you imagine back then when there was still a bunch of craziness going around the country and stuff? So insanity.
Lots of slurs in this movie too. I'll say that. It's every damn scene, especially like even with that the one main drug guy that she ends up being kidnapped. Sid Haig works for the guy, the drug dude, and when he first meets her and he's just like degrading her, it's like so bad, but when she pulls out that pistol on him, it's like she's a badass. She's a absolute badass in this, and she was a badass in basically everything. Every movie that she did.
I had heard that Foxy Brown originally was supposed to be like the sequel to Coffy, but they had changed.
That makes sense.
They had changed it around. I guess some of the early sequels at the time weren't doing that well, so they made it a different, not a part of that story, I don't guess.
They basically stumbled upon like something in this movie and then just tried to remake it like 10 different times in every other Pam Grier movie. It's the same basic plot and everything with her, and she, like somebody was saying, she always shows her tits. Like I don't think there's a movie from this time period where she doesn't show her tits. Like,
well, I mean, if I had tits like that, I'd show them to everybody.
You be at the grocery store walking around with your titties.
Look
out.
at these. Look at these, sir.
Look at my titties. The whole end sequence though, where she's in the car and they're getting ready to kill her, and then like she ends up turning it around and killing everybody like that. I love that whole part. I thought that was great.
Yeah, there's
Where she
a lot of
kills the
dangerous scenes in the highway too. It looks it. I don't know how they filmed it, where she's trying to escape or whatever. Yeah, it looked very dangerous. We got Bug-Eyed Betty in the chat. Bulls, I ain't seen her in forever. She must have been in the Floyd County Detention Center.
Bug-Eyed Betty, bam-a-lam, Bug-Eyed Betty, bam-a-lam. Oh, Betty has some pills, bam-a-lam. She's looking for some thrills, bam-a-lam.
It's been so long on that.
After you, yeah, it's been a while. But this one right here for me is 5 out of 5. This is the best one.
Oh, yeah.
By far, yeah.
Yeah, this is a great movie. It's so much fun.
Yeah, definitely 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. It's the perfect example of the subgenre. This was probably the first blaxploitation movie I had ever seen. I was very young when I saw it. Probably that really old MGM DVD that they had out. But from there on, like, that was pretty much how I got into Jack Hill stuff, which it's hard to believe that he wrote this. I mean, he's not a black guy. So it's like, I guess he would have had some help from maybe Pam Grier and some of the other people to get like his finger on the pulse for the dialogue, because it's very spot on. It seems authentic. And I think it's very true what Tarantino called him, which was the Howard Hawks of exploitation filmmaking. All his stuff is very spot on, and it's the perfect, like, if you're not into exploitation stuff, like, or blaxploitation, this is the way to go. This is where you want to start. Switchblade Sisters is another one that I'd recommend. I mean, well, I guess all his stuff.
I mean, well, okay. Here's his resume, real quick. Okay, as a director,
isn't he still live? Real quick, he's still live, isn't he?
He's like 90 some years old.
Jeez,
him and Corman are pretty. I think Corman's like 98 years old. So yeah, they both work together. They're still
Corman is still doing amazingly well, because he was on the drive-in recently, and like he's still doing amazingly well for somebody that old. I will say that for sure. Like, but he's slowed down quite a bit. It was kind of like that. Yeah. Okay, so Jack Hill directed Spider Baby, which is amazing. If you haven't seen that movie, you definitely should. Pit Stop, which is great too. The Big Dollhouse, The Big Birdcage, Coffy, Foxy Brown, Switchblade Sisters, and Sorceress. So, I mean, such a fucking variety of movies for one thing, and they're all killer. So he was primarily a writer too before he became, a director. So he wrote like a ton of other stuff as well.
So let me tell you something, baby. When they lower that big bird cage, if you will, there's gonna be no escape.
The Big Birdcage.
Oh. Yeah, that's a great name for a movie too. The Big Dollhouse is a great name for a movie as well. Yeah, I mean, they're awesome.
Definitely.
So
I had fun with these movies too, all three of these movies, and because it's different than stuff that we normally look at. Definitely far from an expert on the exploitation, blaxploitation genre. I think if we do a second blaxploitation show, we got to go hardcore, Uncle Bill. We got to go for some of the Fred Williamson stuff.
You mean like what's the Fred Williamson stuff?
I can't say it.
Listen, I will tell you right now.
Can't say it.
This is been a great series of shows. There ain't gonna be no other.
Yeah, they will.
The fact that we were able to pull this off is a testament to something, and I'm just glad that we did. But
okay. I was thinking, I'm like, what movie are you talking about? And then I'm like, oh,
I was too, because like
that one.
I remember some of it.
It's called Boss.
Boss.
The Boss. There you go.
Yep.
It's like
everybody look up Boss 1974 on Google.
Ray Traylor.
Post.
Ray Traylor's WCW run. He was the boss.
Oh my God, damn.
Pull up the poster on here and show it. Let's show it to all the people.
Yeah, let's do that.
Nah, they're not. Anthony got Fred Williamson to sign his boss copy this weekend.
That's cool.
Was Fred Williamson
Wow,
there? Is
nice.
Fred Williamson still fucking alive?
Fred Williamson is still alive, I think. Right? Yeah, he's still alive. His mustache is thick as ever. Still, this day.
Yeah, I understand.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like I think this is a good cross section of this type of subgenre too. So, like we saw like the kind of the beginning of it, and then like the horror aspect of it, and then when it became like an exploitation kind of genre. I think Coffy's a perfect example of what it would become later. Like all those films kind of like copied off that style after a while. And it became more and more kind of like out there and outlandish and, you know, exploitation style, which I actually like. So, I mean,
the thing about Shaft and is the reason I think you picked it is because essentially it's the beginning, like it's the definitive movie that it was so successful. It led to all of these other movies. And that's the way Hollywood has always been. So if it wasn't for Shaft, we wouldn't have had Blacula or Coffy, odds are.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure of that. Yeah.
Coffy's the best one out of all three, but I recommend everybody watch all three of them for sure. I wouldn't say like any of them were terrible. Definitely not Coffy. That's probably the best one, but the other two are decent movies.
Those early Pam Grier ones like that from the early 70s, like watch all of those. Those are all amazing.
Yeah. And the Big Dollhouse, that's on, I think even Birdcage might even be on Tubi as well. I watched the Big Dollhouse on Tubi before I had this. So, but that would be something for you to cover for another exploitation is obviously the women in prison.
Oh yeah.
Or
that's definitely going to be one of them. Yeah.
Or just the Jack Hill show in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
How influenced was Danny Steinman for Savage Streets when it comes to Coffy? There's a lot of instances kind of similar.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, yeah, Danny Steinman is kind of like or he was for a brief period of time, like the modern day Jack Hill. And then I don't know exactly what happened there. Probably drugs, but something happened. He had a good run of a couple films there, though.
Michael Sharp, thank you, sir. The Blacula tee just picked up one on the shop.deadpit.com. I want to pick up one too. I think I want to get one myself.
Matt just ran out to get him one right now. He's like, fuck his stream. I got to get one in Blacula shirt.
I think he has to go pee. Oh, no, there he is.
Oh, shit.
Now you, real quick, you were talking about your, you said you were doing a Lenzi, right?
Yeah, that'll be I would just bring this up real quick again. In 2 weeks, like on Sunday at 10, it'll be going back to like Tour of Italy, doing like finishing that off probably in this season with first one being Umberto Lenzi. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to like show these real quick because I haven't seen, I'm looking at it now. I don't think I've seen any of the movies in these sets, and I have both of these are Severin. I got the Lenzi Baker.
Oh yeah,
Giallo set.
I've got that too.
Yeah, this is a killer looking set. I gotta get into this before you do that in case any of them are covered. But it's got Orgasmo, So Sweet, So Perverse, A Quiet Place to Kill, and Knife of Ice.
I've got to imagine that So Sweet, So Perverse will definitely be covered on there.
Isn't A Quiet Place to Kill supposed to be one of his best too?
I don't know.
I'm
not.
Oh,
I'm not familiar with any of these. So.
I mean, here's going to be the tough part about this show, honestly, is because like he's got a lot of good movies in different kind of subgenres, so it's going to be tough to pick.
You know, here's the Violent Streets again with more Umberto Lenzi.
Yeah,
so,
that's the one I have.
So there's a lot of Lenzi stuff to be covered.
Yeah, Dirk is a huge Lenzi guy, so he would be good for that show too.
Yeah,
Knife of Ice and Quiet Place, he says.
Yeah, I was actually looking at these the other day, looking like I need to really start watching the films in them because it's been a while since I've picked these up on it was on a, I don't know, I think I got them
They had a
from
box
Severance.
set sale or something like
Yeah.
that. I think that's where I got mine. Like they had that Lindsay Baker set for like $25 or something. It was really cheap.
Yeah, and it's, you know,
There's another Lindsay
just-
set out as well. I think it's all like crime movies, if I'm not mistaken.
But
It's good stuff though.
it's not Years of Lead, is it? Or
What? Say
Years
that
of
one more time.
Lead?
I can't even remember the name of it, but I know there is one more.
Because
And
I
it's
have
got like a gun on the cover or something, like a.
So
44.
here's a brief run. I mean, he did a ton of stuff, but like you've got starting in the 70s, A Quiet Place to Kill, Gang War in Milan, Almost Human, Spasmo, Manhunt in the City, Free Hand for a Tough Cop, Violent Naples, Brothers Till We Die, The Cynic, and then he switches over to the cannibal thing. Eaten Alive in 1980, Cannibal Frogs in 1981, Iron Master, which I've actually got in 83, which is like a sword and sorcery style movie, Ghost House in 88, Hitcher in the Dark in 89, and then yeah. So I mean, there's a widespread of movies.
That's one of my
You and me
favorite
going hitching
cannibal
in the dark.
movies. His Eaten Alive. I love it.
You just fucking do Hitcher in the Dark.
Yeah, you and me and Hitcher in the dark. We got to do that. So,
Ah! Nobody else has any fucking idea what we're talking about. I guarantee it. But
hey, if you motherfuckers don't know the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, you're kicked out of here.
you and me. Hitcher.
Oh man, you know, we should have done an AI like one of the songs in Coffy or Blacula. Like,
Yeah, man, that'd been
You
killer.
can do
That would've
anything
been
now with AI.
for this, like with the chef in the background there.
We've had a shit ton of people on here though for one of these shows. I mean, we got like 116 live now, and whoa, hell, we ain't talking about physical media bulls. I know that's the. Can you believe it?
Shots have been fired.
That's the big thing. Oh,
I'll be honest, I don't want to fucking talk about social media. I don't want to talk about social media or physical media anymore, to be honest. I don't give a fuck about either one of them. Yeah, it's refreshing to do just a show about films.
of course, Crater knows who the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band is. If he didn't, he'd be kicked out of Hazard.
They don't, yeah.
They don't put up with that.
Not in fucking Hazard, I know. But yeah, suggestions too. Like if anybody wants to throw out suggestions while we're in this kind of waiting period for the next series of ExploitNation shows, you know, talking about the chat or anything like that.
Guinea
The
pig
guinea
movies,
pig
man.
series of films. Oh,
That's
dude.
got to be an episode. We got to make people
Alan.
watch this shit too.
That's like
Ooh.
beyond exploitation. That's not even like exploitation. That's just
I'm not even
All
sure what the hell that
All
is.
6 movies in one episode. We could do it, boss. I know all you guys could do it. I don't know if anybody else could bear them, but you know.
I've never I don't know if I've ever seen any of them in full. I've seen like clips and photos and stuff, but that's it.
Well, you need the experience. Mermaid in a manhole, brother.
No, you don't. No, you really don't.
They all blend together.
They do. They're
The one that I remember the most is the one where there's like no dialogue whatsoever. It's a guy stalking a woman. He, I guess, kidnaps her and then just like mutilates her the whole movie. You guys know which one that one is.
Flowers of
Fetish for
and
flesh
blood.
and or something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Flower, Flesh, and Blood.
Yeah.
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 It's been many years since I've seen it, but I've got digital copies.
It's the one
and,
that
I'll
that's-
revisit them.
that's the one that Charlie Sheen sent into the FBI or whatever.
Yeah.
I like Crater's idea. Hulk exploitation. The film
Films of Hulk
Hogan.
Santa
That
with
would be
muscles.
No, I mean, one of the ones that I 100% know, and I can't believe we haven't done it yet, but it just didn't never caught on for some reason, is Women in Prison. Like, that's one that should just definitely be on there.
That, and then I guess you didn't do siege films, did you? Trapped in one place, kind of, because I want to talk about Siege so bad.
I do too, because that movie's amazing. But
yeah.
Whatever. Would that technically be called like a siege film? I mean, that one obviously, but that style of movie where
I don't know what you would call that.
Green Room, that type of. I don't know if there's an actual term for that. Where you're kind of trapped, fight for your life,
in one place,
survival.
Bulls. Crater sent me a picture of Fred the Hammer Williamson from Chiller this past weekend. It looks like he's got a walnut growing on his knuckle. Look at that. What the fuck is that?
I can't see it really.
Let's see if you can see the close. He's sent a close-up picture of it too. It looks like he's got a nut sack on his knuckle. That's what it looks like.
Oh God!
Oh,
what the fuck is that?
Oh,
what causes that?
Looks like a tumor or growth or a cyst.
Probably get that fucking removed, man.
Yeah, Fred, you survived this long. It'd be bad to get a fucking tumor on your knuckle and kill you. I don't know.
God damn.
Yeah, that doesn't look good.
That does look unusual. Yeah,
that's a little Quato on there. He's gonna talk to him.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that somebody did a fucking a latex bust thing of that? It looks so fucking killer. I swear to God.
I would imagine that somebody would do it eventually.
That's amazing.
But I guess I don't know. That's it, unless anybody has anything else.
What have we got planned coming up this week, Uncle Bill?
I never know, so you tell me.
Well, you got a review coming up of the 4K basket case, the new Arrow 4K. I think that'll be on the Patreon page first on Tuesday morning, and then later on that day for everybody else. And then we got a bunch of other shit to do as well. Under the Skin, we got a request to do that, and I've watched about half of it, and I don't know. I feel like I need to rewatch the first half of it again.
Yeah, that's the guy who did Zone of Interest, right?
I'm not sure. It's got Scarlett Johansson in it.
Yeah. That's I really like that one a lot. I would suggest watching it in one sitting just to kind of really get the full vibe of it.
I don't know if I have the patience though.
Really? Yeah, it's slow. I get it's definitely slow, but you do get to see some ScarJo in it. You get to see a lot of her in that.
Yeah, so I might watch that now. I was thinking about just bullshit my way through it, but
is the 4K good. Worth it? You'll have to wait and see on the review. Right.
No, I like Under the Skin. I don't know. I'll be interested to see what you guys think of that.
Well, that was another patron requested review, which anybody in the chat, we still have one open spot for anybody to be a baller and shot caller on the Patreon page.
You need to tell them what that entails too.
Well, boys, you book the fucking show. You basically book our show. Like if you want us to do a review,
you're the Pat Patterson of Dead
fan. Yeah, you like Duff there, baby, and WCW, if you will, in the early 1990s. Book the show, what you want, fan commentary, show topic, review. You were a baller and shot caller, and there's only 4, and there's only 1 available. So if you don't,
Right in the ball.
Fuck you! You don't want to do it. I'm just kidding. We love all you people.
Well, most of you.
So what's the big show for May of the Dead? Always something big coming up.
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of possibilities. some of those may have been on that list that we did spin the wheel, make the deal list that had some zombie topics on it. One that's Carded or Danchin already requested, so I guess I can mention that because we know that's happening. He's a baller and shock collar. He wants us to do a Bruno Mattei watch along, Uncle Bill. Zombies, the beginning.
Isn't that the last film that he did?
Yes.
Oh fuck. I already
I've
know
got
it's
it on
gonna be.
I've got it on DVD. I think Severin did it.
I mean, in a way, I'm looking forward to that. In a way, like, I know it's gonna be shit.
Like, Bruno Mattei made a lot of movies in like Korea or somewhere. Like,
Yeah,
I guess
where was it? We were talking about that when we talked about him.
there was like, yeah, his last handful of movies. I think it was Korea or
Was it like
no, it was the
not
Philippines.
Panama, but Philippines. That's it. Yeah.
And this was one of those. And it makes, like a lot of Bruno Mattei's movies, it makes no sense at all. I think we did talk about it on some show because I remember watching it.
Yeah, I don't
A year or
know.
two.
This shit runs together now.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
He did 2 back to back. I think Severin released both of them. I can't remember what the other one's called. I don't have it, but Zombies the Beginning was technically his last movie.
That's a terrible name for a movie.
Zombies the Beginning.
Known for his
It's
subtlety, for sure.
prequel. Yeah. But
well, you do have the spin the wheel, the episode that was confirmed.
right.
You know.
With Felcher, he's still confused as to what he's won. But
Yeah.
Is
You'll
that
figure
coming
it
in May?
we're going to try to do it in May.
Okay.
So the Killer Kid retrospective, I guess the best Killer Kid movies of all time. Yeah.
And then we're going to get John Russo on the show and tell him he's a piece of shit.
I'm a return checks.
I'm selling my fucking door frame.
I gotta pay my taxes.
I've got a piece of wood over here I found in the river. It's part of that house. I swear it is. Give me $500
I
for it.
promise. Scouts honorables.
Poor old John.
What
Russo.
about Mark? What you got coming up on your channel, man? Anything?
Me and Rambo just did the Alien fan commentary. So we just got a request to do another one for Aliens, the special edition version. So we'll be doing that maybe next week or the week after, one of the two. But that's the next live thing that I've got coming up.
I don't have Aliens except for on DVD. The special edition version, is that like extended?
Yeah, it's the extended cut.
Okay. I don't know if my DVD has that or not. I'll have to check into that because I didn't get the 4K. At least not yet. I don't know if I will. I mean, that's a kind of a touchy subject, it seems like, for a lot of people.
I think it looks fine.
Does it?
I mean,
Yeah,
I've
I mean-
only got the digital copy of it. I don't have but on Vudu, the 4K to me looked great.
I watched that and I watched The Abyss, and they both looked fucking killer. So
Yeah,
me-
I don't think I'm one of the people that would be that critical. There's some people that are so critical of those.
I mean, how do you feel about stuff like DNR and shit? Like, is that?
I mean, is it so overdone that is it distracting?
Not to me, no.
Okay, because then yeah, obviously then I would probably have a problem with it. But I mean, if it's people being overly critical of it, if you think that's the case, then I probably wouldn't matter to me. I've never seen the Terminator 2 4K, so I don't know what that looks like either. But
I just
It
hate,
doesn't
like,
look like that. I'll give
you know
it
that feature on TVs, which is like Judder or whatever, like
the motion
whatever-
smoothing.
the
Soap
I hate
soap
that
opera
fucking
mode or
shit.
whatever it is.
Where it's like everybody's moving like slightly quicker than they should be, and they're all fucking like
Yeah.
faces look, waxed out. I can't stand that. But from what I saw, neither one of those films looked like that. Like there was none of that in Aliens or The Abyss. So I don't know
Yeah,
about True Lies, but
a lot of people talk about everything looks like it's waxy or whatever else, like like everybody's face and stuff, almost like a touched up photo.
Yeah.
No, not in this. I mean, you can see the pores on their fucking skin. To me, that's pretty killer.
Yeah, there's a very distinct high quality level of detail that you don't get from like a Blu-ray or a DVD in it. I mean, to me, it's worth it just for the upgrade. I mean, you're only on what DVD you said, so
yeah. But is it artificial though? Is it like an artificial?
One thing that I noticed is it doesn't look like film to me anymore. Like they removed like any chance of like little specks popping up here and there. There's nothing. There's none of that.
Yeah, there's no film grain for the most part. There's no print damage or anything like that. All that stuff's been removed.
But I didn't think it looked over processed either. Like everybody was bitching about, like, you know, when they saw the screenshots and stuff, like how, like, you know, over processed it looked, and it did in those screenshots but it didn't seem like that when you're watching the movie. And most of those screenshots were of True Lies too, which I have not watched that on.
That's the worst looking one of the three for me, for sure. I think that's more of a problem with the original source material that they have. I don't think they took very good care of like the negative or the inner positive or whatever they had as a source. That's just, that movie's never looked good on any format. Doesn't matter which one you get.
Yeah, I've heard that. I just said they don't fuck up Terminator, the first one.
Oh, they're gonna fuck it up.
Well, no, because James Cameron doesn't. I don't think he's technically going to be involved in the actual restoration, is he?
No, from what I've seen, he's not involved. But I mean, that could always change. Who's to
because
say?
that movie is like I love that grainy, gritty look that it has to it. Like I'm so used to seeing that on those old DVDs and on TV and everything like that. It would be on AMC a lot back in the day, and the old DVD I have the Blu-ray of it too, and the Blu-ray doesn't look bad, but just for me that movie is like a DVD movie to me, and it has that real, I wouldn't say low quality to it, but it just has that grime. And I really want that to pop in the 4K version. And I definitely don't want it to be totally removed like, you know, a lot of people are saying with like Aliens, where it just looks like it was made yesterday. You know, that I guess could be
it does. Like that is one thing I can definitely say is it doesn't look like a movie that's how old is it now? Almost 40 years old or whatever at this point.
So I guess I can see those complaints if that's the case. I mean, it is what it is.
I'm not like an uber fan. I mean, I like the movie and everything, but I'm not just like an uber fan of it either. So that might be part of it too, is where I just don't really care.
It actually, going back and watching it though, like you forget how good that fucking movie is. But that movie is
fucking Paul Reiser's in it, boys. I forgot he was in it.
He may be the worst part of the movie too, to be honest, but like it's still an exceptional fucking movie in any genre.
That was before he was on My Two Dads, which was such a hit. You know, they could totally remake that show now and it would work.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make a lot more sense now, actually.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't make it through this whole show for you to fucking pull this shit now. No, not now.
They could recast My Two Dads with me and Uncle Bill.
That'd be great.
What channel would that run on?
That's a good question. CMT. Is CMT still a channel? I don't know. They could put it on that.
It would be on one of those like free Roku streaming channels or something. Like not even on cable. It would just be on like, you know, those channels that
on
are just on your
Tubi.
TV.
Yeah, one of those streaming shows from Tubi. Which
would be on local access.
God bless Scout Taylor Compton. Like all her movies go straight to Tubi. I swear to God.
She's burning it up.
She's like the fucking, who's that one woman that did all those Hallmark movies?
Oh yeah, she was in
Yeah.
the Black Christmas 06 movie, and she burns up the Hallmark movies. I can't remember her name, but I know who you're
But anyway,
talking about.
that's got Taylor Compton now for Tubi. she's
She's the
she's
Tubi
their
queen.
icon. Yeah.
That's great.
So,
But anyway, I'll have to get that. Maybe I'll pick up that Aliens 4K when it's on sale or something like that. I'm not going to rush out.
I'm sure eventually it'll probably be like $10 or something. Grab it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised the price dropped as much as it did. It was originally, when they first got listed, like in the high 30s, but now it's like $23 or $24. So
well, remember it sold
fairly low
out
for
like
a 4K.
everywhere when it first
Yeah.
came out. Like all
Mhm.
those did, and then now they're all back in stock. And they can't like give them away.
That's
or
the thing,
something.
man. Like with those mainstream studio releases, just hold off. Like eventually, like I never did get the Exorcist 4K because eventually it's going to be $10 somewhere, and then I'll pick it up. I'm fine waiting.
I could see that Aliens being a Black Friday title for like 10, 12 bucks.
Oh, hell.
Oh
Jesus.
God!
Coming in hot.
You've awoken the beast.
That was one of the funniest fucking things when Mark got on that stream and started putting over the fucking transferring Rambo's face. He was like,
Yeah. He no sold it the whole time.
Yeah. He's like Iron Sheik. Fuck the Aliens 4K.
What stream was that on? I don't know if I.
Oh, that was some live stream we did like weeks ago, probably around when the 4Ks first came out.
Damn, I'll have to look. I don't know if I remember seeing it.
it was great. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure which one it was. It was probably like he was saying, right when that came out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That and real quick, the Taxi Driver 4K is like one of my. I already pre-ordered that. I'm hoping to God that price goes down on Amazon because right now it's $49 for the steel.
Fuck that shit.
But
No.
I pre-ordered it because if the price goes down before the release date, which it usually does on Amazon, then you still get the cheaper price. But like Amazon's crazy. You never know. Some shit goes up and then all of a sudden it drops to like an insanely low price and it's like a mistake and then they fix it. But if your pre-order is locked in, then you get whatever the cheapest one. So I'll wait and see. And if it does not go down from 50, I'm definitely going to cancel it because that's insane. The Steelbook looks great though with the original poster art that they're using. So I'm sure that'll look amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy though. There's been a bunch of stuff that Kino's announced that I want to get, but like I always wait on their shit too because like I mean none of that stuff ever sells out and it's always going to go on sale. Like,
well, the only thing
that'll
sell out is the damn slipcover. Now, if that pisses you off, like if it's a real popular title, like the Monster Squad one sold out, To Live and Die in LA sold out pretty quick, stuff like that. So if it's something you really want to pick up and get the
I really could give a fuck with it. Yeah, like they got Bad Lieutenant coming out, which I want to get that, and they've got. I still haven't bought Leviathan, which I want to get that. Like I don't give a fuck about slipcovers for any of that stuff. And then they announced something else here recently too, but I can't remember what it was. But I wanted.
I know Death Machine was one.
Death Machine was one.
Been waiting on Perfect Weapon.
Perfect Weapon, yeah. Speakman, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And who
Rambo puts that one over quite a bit.
About like.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one too.
Wasn't
there another? Fuck, what was it? Some other action movie, I think that Kino was doing, but it's slipping my mind.
That's what I'm saying. Like in the last week, they announced something, but I cannot remember what the hell it was. But I knew I wanted it, like right when it got announced. Somebody in here is bound to know what it is.
Somebody does. They can Google it. Either one. The Kino is one of the probably more underrated studios just because like they release so much stuff it's hard to keep up and the price is always pretty fair, so I appreciate that. What about Arrow? Did you guys see Arrow's announcements for July?
Everybody loved those.
I didn't see them yet.
How many damn times
what is it?
Can they
more re-releases?
They're re-releasing Last Starfighter again. I think it's only in Europe or something though. And I'm like, boss, You did a fucking 4K. You did the Blu-ray first, then did the 4K. So those people have already bought it. Who gives a shit? Fucking Arrow.
They're really kind of fallen by the wayside. It's crazy how Arrow is. I mean, because Kino's taking them over, with their releases. It's like, or Kino's like better than Arrow at this point. It's like Arrow is just really hitting a rough patch the last year or so. I don't know what's going on there.
I mean, they've had some
after re-release after re-release.
They've had some good stuff, but yeah, I mean, as far as like they were on a couple of years ago, they were on a roll with this shit, like stuff, pretty much stuff that'd never been out ever, like old slasher movies and stuff like that. The thing about Arrow is their stuff is pretty fairly priced during sales as well. So I just kind of hold off most of the time until the sale.
Kino's doing Repossessed. I know I'll be getting that one.
That's a fucking classic right there.
Yeah.
What about the Columbo set? You getting that, Uncle Bill?
Yeah.
They really have a Columbo set.
It's coming out, yeah.
The Columbo Revival. They got that one coming out too.
They've got a lot of Columbo, actually.
That's a little bit before my time. That's like my decade before again.
Yeah, the Bruce Lee set was huge. The Coffin Joe set was pretty cool. Only thing about those Coffin Joe movies is, man, like honestly, like they were on Blu-ray. I don't even know if they benefit from HD. Those movies are so.
There's just certain series of movies where I'm always just like, I don't give a fuck. And Coffin Joe has always been one of them series of movies. I just cannot. Tell you another one too is The Tombs of the Blind Dead. Like every time I see that, I'm just like, I don't fucking care. Like
I like the first movie.
I just cannot care about those movies.
It's atmospheric.
Fletch. That was one of the ones that was coming out too, which I love Fletch.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I love Chevy
other
Chase around that time period.
Those got delayed, didn't they? The Fletch movies. Weren't they supposed to come out already?
I don't know.
One of
What
the
was the
other
other
ones
one,
was Turbulence with Ray Liotta.
Hell yeah.
I haven't seen that forever. I don't remember being very good, but I don't know if I'll pick that one up.
Well, they need to come out with the last Barbarian Brothers movie.
Fucking
Twin Theaters, boys.
That's not the last one they haven't come out with. They need to come out with Think Big. That's the one that's missing. That was my favorite one.
Well, Twin Theaters is their last movie, though, right? Wouldn't that have a rap song in it or something like that?
I'm sure it did, the way things were going. Yeah. Well. Anybody else got anything?
Just to have 124 people in here, boy.
Shit out of you.
Hi.
Do you want me to beat the shit out of you on this?
Buddy, you couldn't beat the shit out of young little Peter.
God damn, I know where you at. I'll come in there and beat your ass on the live stream.
Will you? I'll throw you through a fucking window, buddy. And it'll be over.
Knock you out of that chair and curb stomp the fuck out of you.
I'll shit right on your chest and then smear pentagram on your belly.
I'll piss in your beard tonight and tonight only.
I'll fog up your glasses with my pee. How about that?
Wouldn't it be great if Uncle Bill just got up and walked into the next room and all of a sudden he's behind?
Like right behind. Oh shit!
That would be killer.
Anyway, it's been a good show though. Glad we all made it through the show relatively unscathed, and things went well. So
we didn't get too controversial, I don't think.
No.
It pretty safe.
Oh, I guess. What is the next thing that we got coming up after this? I don't even know anymore.
Let me try something real quick here.
Oh, please don't. Of the Dead, but what the fuck is it?
We just got a whole series of stuff that's coming up. I don't know what the next one is. I can't tell you that. We're going to do the midweek show, which if you guys aren't on Patreon, we do MWO podcast every week. There we go. I'll turn it back on. And, well, I guess that'll be the next thing that we do.
Well, that'll be killer then.
We'll schedule
Somehow
some
or
shit this
another-
week. Stay tuned.
We got to fucking,
Click the bell notification, all that shit.
yeah, we got to get Slippy to get his shit together. I'm tired of all this nonsense with him.
I am too. He's got to hear his new theme song, Matt. Fuck. I didn't want to give it away or anything, but he's got a brand new theme song. That's a
He
son of a
does.
bitch won't even come on the show to listen to.
Oh, he's gonna. I don't know what he's gonna think about that. I'm not real sure.
I
But
think he's going to mark out for it.
He's
That's
gonna
all I
love
want
it.
to say.
I think he will. Yeah, I think everybody's gonna like that. It's, now that the cat's out of the bag, but nobody will hear it until Slippy is on the stream.
Don't know what genre of music it's in, too. It may not be what you think. We'll give you that. that
Right.
clue.
I do like Crater's idea though that like for May of the Dead every week should be John Russo. Damn.
Interview John Russo every week.
Look at him
See
something
what
about John
cancel
Russo.
checks he's trying to sell and shit.
Yeah.
This cancel check from 1978. Balls.
So is Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal every other month now, officially?
Who knows?
No,
I can't.
it's once a year.
Yeah, that's it was like a year for
Yeah.
the last one.
We got to make the participants special on there. You got to get Metal Man on the.
Hell, that ain't ever going to happen. We're doing that.
What the fuck
I'm
ever
just
happened to him
kidding.
anyway?
We've learned
Out
our
of
lesson
curiosity.
on Metal Man.
He just fucking.
Disappeared.
I mean,
I think he's been in intervention program or something maybe for the last 6 months. I don't know.
that makes sense. Well,
The Pantera intervention.
yeah.
He likes going to see the fake Pantera in concert.
Listen, you're gonna cause all kinds of drama if you call them fake Pantera.
But
on
they
here.
are the fake Pantera.
But
The
it's-
sound of that
Oh, here we
fucking
go.
band were the two guys that are dead. Fight me for it, boys. It's the truth.
I mean, you're not
Yeah.
wrong.
What's is Zach Wild doing that?
Yeah.
Is that Zach? Okay, I know not. This is just like I don't know. We can end on this. But I never liked Zach Wild. I never got. I never understood.
Me either. I
I
fucking
never
hate Zach Wild.
understood like the whole Zach Wild like
Don't
fandom
even get
or
me
whatever.
started.
Like
CK, you want to take this?
I like Zach Wild. I'm not talking shit about Zach Wild.
I mean,
but-
like his guitar playing is not impressive to me. It's just like whatever. It's Zach Wild. Like it just. I can't say any more about it. It's just
I got two
never
words.
understood it.
2 words for you. Pinch harmonics. Let's fucking stop doing them. If we
The
could.
squealing, that's his signature, man.
It's his thing.
Anyway.
Anyway.
All right, you want me to end this, Uncle Bill? Is that what you're waiting on, motherfucker?
No, I was just honestly just bullshitting around. I don't really give a fuck.
We got over 100 people in here. So.
We still have over 118 people in here. What can we sell, Uncle Bill? Can we sell our signed 8x10s? Anybody ordered all their autographed 8x10s from Dead Pit? Yeah.
I noticed that Matt
Check
and
out
Mark
this shit.
haven't ordered them yet.
Look
They
at
need
this
to
shit.
right now. Look at that.
Oh yeah. Should have just got you to sign one at the Horror Hound.
That's right.
We got the old school Jamie Lee Curtis one.
Right. Where she looks
And,
confused and bewildered and should have, rightfully so.
We've got a couple of the old school. We took these right when we first started doing the show. Look how wide Uncle Bill's face is. You can't even
Yeah.
see it.
So pale that it looks like I'm not even there. It looks like a fucking.
Yeah, every
All
time
high
you show
quality, glossy photos, baby. Get them now on the Dead Pit shop on deadpit.com.
CK, you guys send me some more of those promo cards.
I've got new promo cards, actually, so I can. When do you need them by?
Before August, because I'm
Okay.
going to be seeing Eli in August as well. He's,
Oh, shit.
Oh,
he's coming
got-
here.
Oh hell,
you got to
Well,
wear your Dead Pit shirt.
man!
I know, right?
Look at that! Imagine getting a third signature on there, of Eli Roth.
That would be. Oh man.
That's a one of a
shit.
kind.
I just would want to say,
I
I
should
want
do
you
that.
to do like to record you going up to him with that picture and him just being like, "What the fuck is this?"
I'll try
Yeah.
to get my girlfriend to record it.
Yeah.
Did they allow was that not allowed to record him? Or
I don't
anything?
know.
At
That-
the
I mean,
table, I don't
We
know.
didn't I didn't really see anybody, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm sure.
Honestly, dude, just get on Amazon and get one of them cheap pair of sunglasses that has a little camera in the middle or whatever. Just record.
I thought about getting that actually.
It would be worth it. It would be worth it just for you to lay that picture on the table, even if you just go, just kidding. You know?
Yeah, you could get you a spy camera or whatever. They've got them in pens too.
Oh yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah, so you have to secretly. Crater says there's no cameras around him. His agent is a dick.
Shit. Okay.
Another FBI agent, Secret Service.
They're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna start calling them from now on. The Secret Service. That's what they're all under the umbrella of the Secret Service.
Keep these stupid fucking nuds away from him.
No cameras out.
No pictures of me. God
you.
damn it.
They got to protect Eli. He's a big time celebrity.
Hot commodity bulls. Eli Raw. Hey, he
Oh,
made a ton of money at that all-around show.
Oh,
I'm
I
sure.
Was that like his first one that he's done in like
I can't
Ever?
ever remember
I mean,
him doing a show like back in
He
the day.
did.
Maybe he did.
He was scheduled for like 3 or 4 this year. I think he did a smaller one before Horror Hound, but I didn't see anything from that show. I might have seen one photo or something. But he only signed to do like maybe 3 or 4. So who knows if he'll do any more after that. I don't know. Cause man, he's one of those guys that just doesn't need the fucking money really. His family was well off long before he was even in movies. So
Yeah, I was shocked to see him at a show so soon after the one you guys were just at. I guess he saw how much money he made. He's like, oh, I guess I could do one every other month.
let's do it, you know. Yeah, they're run very well. Whorehound was run very well. I'll give them credit. They know what they're doing.
he could just do twice a year and you know, make buku bucks no matter what, just guaranteed. Just twice a year, I feel like would be
The and I know it's a money making racket, and me and Uncle Bill's talked about it for a while, but the photo op thing, the celebrity photo op people, which I don't know if they do the shows that you go to, Mark, but that was insane how well they had their shit together for that. I was very impressed with that. And
it's
even
an
though
assembly line.
it is, but
fine.
at the same time, by the time you get your photo, you take your photo, you walk around, it's literally in your hands.
Yes,
Within like 10 seconds or whatever.
that's how it is here.
I'll tell you right now, them dumbasses ruin conventions altogether. So fuck them and their fucking celebrity photo ops.
Look what we got out of the deal, Uncle Bill. Look at that, man.
That's true. That is awesome that we can
And now
sell those to make our money.
you can get yours. Signed or unsigned, whatever you want.
Oh, but in the meantime,
And in between time.
those celebrity photo ops people can kiss my dick.
If I can find it.
You're gonna find it in a minute, motherfucker, because I'm gonna smack you in the damn head with it. How'd you like that? I'll take that hat off your fucking head, shit on it, and put it back on your
You
head.
ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing. Fuck you, pal. Shop.deadpit.com as well. $16 shirts for the rest of the night, boys. That's you can buy 2 Dead Pit shirts for the price of one of those fucking shitty fright rag shirts. So fuck them.
$33 fright rags. Really, is that what we're doing now?
And if you're
$33.
fatter, they fucking charge you more.
That's
The fat
discrimination.
tax.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. So if you wanted a 3XL, 3 extra
$500.
large, they charge fucking taxes and shipping. So you're paying like $42 for one goddamn shirt. fuck them. They can go to fucking hell. Shop.deadpit.com, $16 plus shipping, but it's still way less than $42 a shirt.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, everybody, for being on the panel. Let's get the fuck off here at some point. We're 2 hours and 4 minutes into it.
Let's go to bed, baby.
I'm going to bed. Everybody else can shit and fall back in it.
Use my nutsack as the pillow, baby.
Look, you motherfucker. You fucking think I'm going out on that shit.
Dead pit.
Fuck you.
Give us a thumbs up.
Up you butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a fuck.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last South on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows, fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.